Hey, what's going on guys, Khraze here, back into Ghost of Tsushima Legends, and today let's talk about some really amazing non-legendary items that will absolutely change your class right now. It will change the way you play. You will absolutely want to hunt for these, because if you want to aim for that high nightmare difficulty, and even more so if you want to play with a really interesting kind of build, these are the ones that you will want to eventually have. And of course, I'm talking about the class-specific charms that can drop in this game. So let's talk about these, how you can get them, and as always, if you enjoyed this video at any point, don't forget to leave a thumbs up on it. By the way guys, today's video has been brought to you thanks to Instant Gaming. Instant Gaming sells games at some of the cheapest prices you can find around, and if you also enjoy cheap games, definitely go ahead, check out their website by using my links in the description box down below. Now, class charms are something that drops for specific classes. So for example, if you want something like a samurai charm, you will obviously have to play with a samurai and hope that the next charm that drops for you is going to be a samurai charm and not a regular one. And the same goes for the hunter, ronin, and assassin likewise. But the difference between the class charms and the regular ones is the fact that they come with at least a couple of very unique and extremely powerful additional perks that you will definitely want. Some of them can completely change your build, while others at the very least will make even an okay ability into an absolutely amazing one, especially for the nightmare mode. So let's begin with the samurai charm, and this is going to give you access to two additional perks, which are the rising tempo or the blast strike. Now, the rising tempo is going to make your successive kills without taking any damage to also increase the damage that you will deal. So think of this as kind of like a kill counter. The more enemies you kill, the higher your damage is going to become, and even more so, it is going to become insane once you get like a handful of these kills without getting damaged. Now, the thing about this is that it will reset the moment an enemy lands an attack on you, or if you wait for too long in between kills, like for example no more than 5 seconds. But let me tell you this, the difference is actually quite insane. I've done some tests, and by the 4th kill my damage was almost doubled by that point. So for example, even though by default I had to do a heavy and 4 light attacks to take down a regular sized enemy, by the 4th kill it only needed 1 heavy and 2 light attacks to fully break it down and bring it down to its knees. So it's really amazing. The only problem is that it's not really reliable, since you have to take those kills, and in some of the nightmare missions that's not going to be possible, since you might not encounter that many low buy enemies. But we also have the blasted strike, and definitely by far my option for the nightmare mode, which is going to make your melee damage while under the effect of spirit pull or exploding blade to also heal you on each hit. What makes this perk so desirable, especially on the nightmare mode, is the fact that since you already have a pretty low cooldown on the spirit pull, and since you already deal really high damage with the melee attacks, then it means that you're constantly going to be able to stay at full HP, and even more so, this is going to work amazing with the moon stance mastery. When you spin around, you're not going to be able to be interrupted, but because you have the blast strike, you're going to fully face tank and heal through any type of damage, or almost any type of damage, sometimes even 2 Onis at the same time, which is why I fully recommended this if you want to go for a proper build. The next charm is going to be the Ronin Charm, and it gives you access to 2 interesting perks. One of them is the Spirit Bear, that makes your spirit animal to now summon a bear instead of a dog, so now you have a much more powerful ally that can also tank a little bit more damage. And since the bear tends to maul its enemies, it also means that you're going to see them staggered for a little bit longer, or at the very least incapacitated during that animation. But otherwise, if you truly want to persevere as a Ronin in the online mode, you will want to use the healing spirit, which will turn your spirit animal to also have a healing aura. And this is all around really amazing. I mean, you have the option between the healing aura on the spirit, or you can go with the incense, but personally I found that this is kind of like a double-sided effect. So if you use the healing spirit on your spirit animal, it will both be useful in combat while also providing that healing. The only drawback is the fact that since it kind of tends to move a lot from one enemy to another, it might not heal you fully, and you will have to kind of chase it on the battlefield. But otherwise, really amazing one. If you want to also roll with a spirit and not sacrifice it for the incense, you will want to go with this one right here. The next one is going to be the Hunter Charm, another really amazing option, and the one that truly makes the hunters an amazing pick for nightmare. And again, you can absolutely solo nightmare with this amazing class. Now, there's 3 perks this time around with this charm, unlike the other ones. So you now have access to foul arrows, blast arrows, and increased ammo from pickups by 100%. So now foul arrows is going to make your headshots to also apply weaken on the target. This is the preferred perk right here if you want to deal the most amount of damage, especially if you're running with a skipping stone legendary longbow. And the reason for that is because obviously you're going to be able to pull on headshots anyway, and even some of your body shots will count as headshots with a pinpoint. So this means that you're spreading a ton of weakness, and this means your subsequent attacks are going to deal even higher damage, on top of the fact that your enemies get debuffed too. So really amazing one, probably the best one for the nightmare mode. But blast arrows is also an amazing choice if you tend to stay back but your enemies are kind of like in the middle of the groups just fighting, because this is going to make your headshots to also heal nearby allies. So again, another amazing one with the skipping stone, since you can now spawn multiple of these healing thingies because you're doing multiple headshots at the same time. So you can heal everybody in the party really quickly. Now the last one is going to be the increased ammo from pickup by 100%. Personally, I believe that this is completely useless, because if you run with a proper hunter build, you should not have any problem to get all of your arrows back, since you're kind of getting them on headshots anyway. That is why in one of the previous videos I recommended to run with the headshot perk right here that gives you arrows on headshot every time. But of course, this brings us to our final class, and that is the assassin, with a very amazing charm that actually has 2 so amazing perks that it's very difficult to choose the proper one. So this is going to be a matter of playstyle. But the first perk is called Chain Vanish. Successful assassinations while under vanish is going to reactivate and refresh its duration, and yes, it absolutely stacks with the Chain Vanish perk that you can also get in the technique section. So what this means is that if you use your vanish, especially like something like the toxic vanish, you can vanish up to 3 times instead of only 2 with the perk and the Chain Vanish on the assassin charm, which is really amazing if you can secure those assassinations in the first place and guaranteed that the enemies die in one assassination. So really amazing one, which is also why I've used it so many times, even on the proper assassin build that I made a while ago. The second one though is even crazier. It's called Hysteria, and it just makes your assassinations to cause nearby enemies to hallucinate. So you will have to guarantee that assassination again for this to actually spawn, so the kill must be secured. But once that happens, you're going to see this explosion that happens in a radius, and every enemy caught in that blast will be affected by hallucinate for like 10-15 seconds, point at which they kind of become your allies, or at the very least they will turn up on their friends and they will attack. And it's really glorious to see a full-on team of hysterical enemies just attacking one another, because you're kind of breaking down the battlefield. And if you can manage to kind of go against one of these survival missions, for example, and lure enemies in a very tight spot, you can come up with some really amazing results, which is why I believe that for that nightmare mode, Hysteria might be a better all-around group support kind of ability, but only if you have a coordinated party. But this is it with these charms. Of course, definitely make sure that you go ahead and get these, because they will change your class completely and you will completely forget about literally every other charm in the game. Now, as always, if you enjoyed this video at any point, let me know by commenting down below, leaving a like on this video and subscribing to the channel, since we are going to be covering a ton of Ghost of Tsushima Legends and more in the upcoming days and maybe even weeks, who knows. But thanks so much for watching, and peace.